Refreshing wild cherry cola meets smooth cream. The treat you deserve. Pepsi Wild Cherry and Cream. Treat yourself.
It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But here's a big one you need to hear. Billions. That's the amount of money in refunds the IRS has flagged for possible identity fraud. Now here's another big number. 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. One last big number. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit lifelock.com/podcast for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.
It's Deprogram, the podcast where we try to get you into a band. That's right, we've done all the work for you. All you have to do is press play and listen. My name is Justin, and normally what we would be doing is just that, having a conversation about an artist, and in doing so we would create a top 10 starter kit list for you in case you have never gotten into said artist. Not today. Somehow you've stumbled upon us on a day where we are doing our daily pods, which is just a conversation about something music related. Today you've stumbled on Earworm Wednesday. Still not completely sold on this idea, but if something jumps in my head and refuses to get out, I'm going to talk about it in an attempt to get it out of my head. So we did the episode on Halsey at this point, I think in 22 or 23. So it's been a couple years, and in the meantime, towards the end of 2024, she came out with a new record. Maybe they. I do apologize if I am misgendering. But they came out with a new record in October, The Great Impersonator in 2024. And honestly, as somebody who's newer to this artist, I think it's their best work. I truly believe The Great Impersonator is the best Halsey record. I can understand anybody who would disagree. I get the import of the records that came before it, but the concept of The Great Impersonator really resonates with me. And I'll get into like the song specifically that was in my head. But The Great Impersonator really struck with me because they went in and specifically said, I'm going to do songs like these artists, including Bjork and Britney Spears and themselves from their first record, PJ Harvey, Tori Amos, like a bunch of different artists, Fiona Apple, and went in and did these songs that are Halsey songs with a twist of said artist. And it's a whole record about masking and what we will do to, fit in, for lack of a better term. And in their instance, it's what they will do to fit in the music industry and or, the grander life. But one song, which was one of the first singles off of it, really struck a nerve with me, and it's Lonely as the Muse. And part one is because it's a rock tune, or at least as rock as a pop artist can get. And in their previous record, they kind of explored that territory, and I really enjoyed. Trent Reznor produced the last record, but they really explored these rock tunes, and I thought they were the better songs of that record. And I was like, man, I think Halsey would be great in front of a rock band. And so when one of the first songs that comes out from the new record is a rock number, I'm like, oh, cool. Like, this is what I wanted to hear. And so it already scratched that itch. And then while I don't think I've ever been anybody's muse, I can't relate on that level. I can relate to a lot of the lyrics that happen here. And the first line is, I'm going to mess this up, but it is something to the tune of, I was just sitting at a bar, I spent decades trying to be cool, and you erased, so much of my effort by just coming up to me and say, hey, I didn't realize you were here. And it's the way in which it is, the way it meshes with the music, and I can just relate on that level. And the hook is, I'm willing to do, I disassemble myself. I will put myself back together in any way that you can find of use. And that is the thing I can relate to, is this idea of pulling myself apart, putting myself back together in any way that you feel like can be useful to you. I want to play a clip here. I can't play too many because I keep getting in trouble for it, but hold on. You know what? We're going to skip it. I'm not going to play the clip, but I always knew I was a martyr and that Jesus was one too. There's a point at the end where they're really, I can really feel it, her coming away from themselves and really just shouting. And I could tell that this was a really cathartic experience for them. And it just resonates with me. It gives me chills. And I don't know. A lot of the people who listen to this may not be into it, but if you are willing to be open, I think it's a great tune. It easily gets stuck in my head, and it's an easy repeat for me. So Halsey's "Lonely as the Muse" has been in my head. Also, we talked about the Harry Styles record last week, and I've had a chance to revisit it a little bit. I've listened once or twice through. Again, Kiss All the Time, Disco Occasionally is the name of the jam. And I told you all last week I wasn't all that impressed with Aperture. I can't remember if my wife and I had watched the live special, but that really changed my view on Aperture. And then Harry hosted SNL a couple weeks ago, and I watched that. Actually, I want to point this out. Dance No More is one of the songs that he performed on SNL. And when we were listening to the record the first time, Dance No More really stuck out to me. And I mean, it's because it gets stuck in my head. So Dance No More has really kind of following Lonely as the Muse been stuck in my head this week. So Dance No More is a really fun jam, and I recommend going and seeing the live from SNL. That was a fun performance. And just the whole record, it's really good. I haven't had enough time to really truly absorb to give you full analysis of what's what on it. But the pop numbers are great. And, speaking of the song Pop, but Dance No More is the one that jumped out to me immediately and then upon second listen, and it's the one that continually gets stuck in my head. So if you like Harry Styles, go listen to Dance No More. I will put that in if you're listening on Spotify, it'll be at the bottom. You can just click a link and it'll take you right to it. So, all right, folks, as always, I don't know how many times we'll do Earworm Wednesday, but if something strikes me, we will do it. And that's why we're here. And in the meantime, today's Wednesday, so that means tomorrow will be our regular episode. So we will see you tomorrow. Goodbye.